Okay, lesson 6 here, solving equations with variables on both sides. So when you're solving equations with variables on both sides, pick the smaller or the more negative variable and eliminate that. In this case, there's only one variable, so we're going to solve this as normal. Start with the constants first. So 3x is going to equal 12. And if you divide by 3, x is going to equal 4. And if you do your check, 3 times 4 plus 8, does that equal 20? Well, 12 plus 8 does equal 20. In this example, we have 0.4 on this side, and we have 0.5x on this side. Now, they're the same variable. The 0.4x is less. So let's eliminate that. Because what that does is it leaves you with a 0.1x, which is positive. And that's a good thing for solving equations. You don't have to deal with negative numbers. So if we subtract 0.9 from this side, you're going to end up with 0.1x is equal to negative 0.2. And divide by 0.1, divide by 0.1, and x ends up equaling negative 2. And if you do your check for this, 0.4 times negative 2 plus 0.7 is equal to 0.9 plus 0.5 times negative 2. So we end up with negative 8 plus negative 0.8 plus 0.7 equaling 0.9 minus 1.0. And you end up with negative 0.1 is equaling to negative 0.1. So we did it correctly. This next example, let's look at the variables. 3y and 4y. Now they're on the same side of the equal sign, so you can simply combine like terms. So 3y plus 4y is going to equal 7y. Negative 12 and positive 4 is negative 8. And this is equaling negative 27. And if we add 8 and add 8, 7y is going to equal negative 19. And if you divide by 7, y is equal to negative 19 over 7. Number 4 here, the equal sign, just highlight it there. We have 5y on the left side and 3y on the right side. Now 3y is less, so let's eliminate the 3y. So you end up with 2y plus 8 minus 11 equaling 9. Now we can combine some like terms here. Positive 8, negative 11 give us negative 3. So add 3 to each side. 2y equals 12. And if you divide by 2, y equals 6. Now for these videos, I'm not going to do the checks just to speed things up, but you will be expected to check them on a unit test or exam. Okay, the next example, we have 5x on the right side, 7x on the left side. 5x is less, so let's subtract that. So we end up with 2x plus 2 is equal to 18. And if you subtract 2, we end up with 2x equaling 16, which means that x equals 8. This example, we have 11x on the left side and 8x on the right side. So 8x is less. Let's subtract 8x. So we end up with 3x minus 18 equaling 3. Add 18 to each side. 3x is equal to 21. And divide by 3, x equals 7. Here we have brackets on both sides, so we need to use the distributive property, which I think is lesson 4 of this unit. So if we expand here, negative 2 times m is negative 2m. Negative 2 times times negative 5 is positive 10. And that's going to equal 6m plus 18. Now negative 2m is less than 6m. So let's add 2m and add 2m. That makes a 0 pair. and you're left with 10 equaling 8m plus 18. And if we subtract 18 from both sides, 8m is going to equal negative 8. And if you divide by 8, m equals negative 1. Here's the equal sign. Because of this equal sign, 5r and 8r are on the same side, which means you can combine those two to make 13r. As well, negative 13 and positive 9 are on the same side. So if we collect like terms, we get negative 4. And this equals r minus 22. Now r is less than 13r, so let's subtract r. So we end up with 12r minus 4 is equal to negative 22. And if you add 4 to each side, 12r equals negative 18. And divide by 12, r equals negative 18 over 12, which will simplify to negative 3 over 2, which would be your solution. Here we have the distributive property. So let's distribute 4m plus 4 is equal to negative 10. If we distribute this negative, we end up with negative 2m minus 6. Now before we start adding or subtracting across the equal sign, we can collect like terms. So negative 10 and negative 6 are like terms. So let's just combine those two to make negative 16. Negative 2m is less than 4m, so let's add 2m to make a zero pair there, and we end up with 6m plus 4 equaling negative 16. Subtract 4 to make a zero pair, and we end up with, I might have messed something up here. Negative 10, oh, you know what? This is positive 10 at the beginning. So positive 10 minus 6, that's going to make this 4, positive 4, which means this is going to be positive 4, and positive 4 minus 4 gives me 0. And if you divide by 6, m still equals 0. Here's another example, 8x or 11x. Well, 8x is less, so let's start with subtracting 8x. 3x minus 6 is equal to 12. And if you add 6, we get 3x equaling 18. And if you divide by 3, you get x equals 6. In this example, you have to distribute. So 3x minus 12 is on the left side, and 4x minus 3 is on the right side. 3x is less than 4x, so let's eliminate that to make a zero pair. Negative 12 is remains on the left side. X minus 3 is on the right side. So if you add 3 and add 3 to make a zero pair there, x equals negative 9. We got a bunch of stuff going on, but the first part we should do is just distribute this negative 2. So this ends up being negative 2x and positive 6. Distribute this positive 2, so we end up with 2x plus 8. Before we deal with the variables, let's collect some like terms. So 4 and plus 6, that makes 10. And 5 and 8 will go to positive 13. Now, negative 2x is less than 2x. So let's add 2x to make a zero pair there. So 10 is equaling to 4x plus 13. And then if we subtract 13, 4x equals negative 3. Divide by 4, divide by 4. You can't simplify any farther, so x is going to equal negative 3 over 4.